So you see in Exodus, the 17th chapter, the 16th verse, so he said, because the Most High has sworn, he can swear by himself. Who else could he swear by? He said the Most High has sworn that the Most High will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. That's forever. Generation to generation. You see? Most High said, Romans 9:13, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. So what shall we say then? Is they unrighteous with the Most High? Most High forbid. All right, so look at Joshua, or the book of Joshua. See, Joshua was a great warrior of Israel. Joshua was the one that the Most High chose to lead the children of Israel into the promised land, to the land of Canaan. You see, he was down there fighting the battle. He was a warrior. Chose Joshua. Great warrior. So Joshua 10, the 10th chapter, and the 7th verse. So Joshua ascended from Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor. And the Most High said to Joshua, fear not, for I have delivered them into thine hand. There shall not a man of them stand before thee. The Most High is with him. It said, Joshua therefore came unto them suddenly, and went up from Gilgal all night. And the Most High discomfited them before Israel, and slew them with a great slaughter at Gibeon, and chased them along the way that goeth up to Bethoron, and smite them to Azekah, and unto Matera. And it came to pass that they fled from before Israel, they running from us, and were in the going down to Bethoron, that the Most High cast down great stones from heaven. That the Most High, remember what we read in, when we started with Exodus 15:3, the Most High is a man of war. The Most High is his name, and the Most High cast down great stones from heaven upon them unto Azekah, and they died. The great stones were great hailstones coming down, choo, 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 choo. They probably screaming, You know what he said? And it came to pass as they fled from before Israel, they running from us, and were in the going down at Bethoron, that the Most High cast down great stones from heaven upon them unto Azekah, and they died. He cast down great hailstones upon them, and they died. There were more which died with hailstones than they whom the children of Israel slew with the sword. The Most High said, look, Most High is a man of war. He killed more of them with the hailstones than we killed in the war, in battle. Then spake Joshua to the Most High power in the day when the Most High delivered up the Amorites before me, before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Hear that? He prayed that the sun would stay still, and the moon wouldn't go down. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Joshua? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down about a whole day. So the sun stood still for a whole day, 24 hours. daylight, that we can kill the enemies. Israel, a nation of warriors. And there was the day like that before it or after it. Excuse me, and there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Most High hearkened unto the voice of a man, for the Most High fought for Israel. See, the Most High fought for us. Joshua 12:1. Now these are the kings of the land, which the children of Israel smote or killed or murdered, and possessed their land on the other side Jordan toward the rising of the sun, from the river Arnon unto Mount Hermon, and all the plain on the east. So we didn't get the land just walking into it. We had to kill. That's why the Most High said, look, go to Deuteronomy 7:3. Deuteronomy 7:3. Well, let's read verse 1. When the Most High thy power shall bring thee into the land, whither thou goest to possess it, and have cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou, 7 of these Hamite nations greater and mightier than us, Israelites, and when the Most High thy power shall deliver them before thee. Hear that? The Most High is going to deliver them before us. He's telling us. Thou shalt smite them. Hear that? What he telling us? Thou shalt smite them. So that's what you see what's happening with Joshua. Thou shalt smite them. And even in the time of Moses, as we just read in Exodus 17th chapter, because they came against us and we went to war against them. He said, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant, no contract, no agreement with them, nor show mercy to them. See? So he told us we're supposed to kill them. Thus say the Most High. So when you look at Joshua taking the children that we had in the wilderness for 40 years into the promised land, the land of Canaan. So Joshua 12:1, the Most High told us, he gave us that commandment. So Joshua 12:1 says, now these are the kings of the land which the children of Israel smote. I mean, we put them to death. And possessed their land on the other side of Jordan toward the rising of the sun, from the river Arnon unto the Mount Hermon, and all the plain of the east. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, and ruled from Ararat, which is upon the bank of the river Arnon, and from the middle of the river, and from half Gilead, even unto the river Jaboth, which is the border of the children of Ammon, right? And from the plain to the sea of Shinnoroth on the east, and unto the sea of the plain, even the Salt Sea on the east, the way to Beth Sheshemoth, and from the south under Ashdasdisgal, and the coast of Og, king of Bashan, which was of the remnant of the giants that dwelt at Ashtaroth and at Israel. So you had giants there. And reigned in Mount Hermon, had a remnant of the giants then. You see this. And reigned in Mount Hermon, and in Salcah, and in all Bashan, under the border of the Gergarites and the Mashatites, and half Gilead, the border of Sihon, king of Heshbon. Them did Moses, the servant of the Most High, and the children of Israel smite. And Moses, the servant of the Most High, gave it for possession unto the Reubenites, and the Gadites, and the half tribe of Manasseh. And these are the kings of the country which Joshua and the children of Israel smote on this side of Jordan, on the west, warfare, from Baal Gad in the valley of Lebanon, even unto Mount Halak, that goeth up to Seir, which Joshua gave unto the tribes of Israel for a possession according to their divisions, in the mountains, and in the valleys, and in the plains, and in the springs, and in the wilderness, and in the south country, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, the same one we read about in Deuteronomy 7:3, was 7:1 down. The king of Jericho, 1. The king of Ai, which is beside Bethuel, 1. The king of Jerusalem, 1. The king of Hebron, 1. The king of Jarmuth, 1. The king of Lachish, 1. You see? So you see, it's naming all these kings in their lands and the different places that they lived in and ruled over that we took down to get our land, as the Most High has said. Look at Joshua 13:1. Now Joshua was old and stricken in years. And the Most High said unto him, Thou art old and stricken in years, and there remaineth yet very much land to be possessed. He was old and stricken in years, and still there was a lot of land that the Most High said we need to possess. This is the land that yet remaineth, all the borders of the Philistines, and all Geshuri, from Sihor. That's why I say you look at our land is much vast and more abundant than just that land of Israel that you see today. So this is letting you know all these different lands that the Most High said we're supposed to get and have, and we're gonna have. Look at verse 13. Nevertheless, all these different lands you keep on reading down that the Most High said we're supposed to have. Nevertheless, the children of Israel expelled not the Jezreelites nor the Mashasites, but the Gesterites and the Mashasites dwell among the Israelites until this day. Only unto the tribe of Levi he gave none inheritance. The sacrifices of the Most High power of Israel made by fire are their inheritance, as he said unto them. See, we always gonna be reluctant to follow what the Most High tell us to do over and over again. See this? 2 Samuel 22 and 30. 2 Samuel 22 and 30. Second Samuel 22 and 30. For by thee I have run, this is David, for by thee I have run through a troop. King David ran through a troop of armies. By my power have I leaped over a wall. As for the Most High, his way is perfect. The word of the Most High is tried. Is tried. He is a buckler to all them that trust in him for protection. For who is the Most High, save the Most High? And who is a rock, save our power? Most High is my strength and power, and he maketh my way perfect. He maketh my feet like hinds' feet, and setteth me upon my high places. Think about it. King David said he jumped a wall. He's a powerful man. He leaped a wall. He ran through a troop. So he ran through the troop.
Has joined.
The Most High is my strength and power, and he maketh my way perfect. He maketh my feet like hinds' feet. So he maketh his feet to run like deer's feet, and setteth me upon my high places. He teaches my hands to war. Hear that? Say the Most High taught his hands to war. He had 40 years of war. So that a bow of steel is broken by my arms. Hear that? He said he teaches his hands to war. So that a bow of steel, you hear this? That a bow of steel is broken by mine arms. That's powerful. Thou hast also given me the shield of thy salvation, and thy gentleness hath made me great. Thou hast enlarged my steps under me, so that my feet did not slip. I have pursued mine enemies and destroyed them, and turned not again until I had consumed them. See, I ain't turned again till I consumed them. And I have consumed them and wounded them, that they could not arise. Yeah, they are fallen under my feet. But thou hast girded me with strength to battle. Them that arose up against me hast thou subdued under me. Thou hast also given me the backs of mine enemy, the necks of mine enemies, Salakia, that I might destroy them that hate me. They looked, but there was none to save, even unto the Most High, but he answered them not. All of a sudden, they're going to call on the Most High. Say, but he ain't answering them, because he only know Israel. He answered them not. Then did I beat them as small as the dust of the earth. I did stamp them as the myrrh of the street, and did spread them abroad. Thou also hast delivered me from the strivings of my people. Thou hast kept me to be head of the heathen. A people which I knew not shall serve me. Strangers shall submit themselves unto me. As soon as they hear, they shall be obedient unto me. Strangers shall fade away, and they shall be afraid out of their closed places. So they're going to fade away, but they're going to be afraid wherever they're at. Most High liveth, and blessed be my flock. My rock, excuse me. And exalted be the Most High power of the rock of my salvation. It is the Most High that avenges me, and that bringeth down the people under me, and that bringeth me forth from mine enemies. Thou also have lifted me up on high above them that rose up against me. Thou hast delivered me from the violent man. Therefore I will give thanks unto thee, O Most High, the water Most High, among the heathen, and I will sing praises unto thy name. He is the tower of salvation for his king, and showeth mercy to his anointed, unto David, and to his seed forevermore. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. 2 Samuel 23 and 20. 2 Samuel 23 and 20. And Benaniah, the son of Joiada, the son of a valiant man, a valiant man, a warrior of Kabzeel, who had done many acts, he slew 2 lion-like men of Moab. Hear that? He slew 2 lion-like men of Moab. He went down also and slew a lion in the midst of a pit in time of snow. In the snow, he slew a lion in the midst of a pit in time of snow. And he slew an Egyptian, a godly man. And the Egyptian had a spear in his hand, but he went down to him with a staff and plucked the spear out of the Egyptian's hand and slew him with his own spear. These things did Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, and had the name among 3 mighty men. He was more honorable than the 30, but he abstained not to the first 3, and David set him over his God. Mighty men of warriors. So now, when we look at what we in dealing with Feast of Dedication, when we go to 1 Maccabees, 4th chapter, and start at verse 52. We went over this already, so you can just review it in the lesson that I've already done, Feast of Dedication. So now we're going to jump to 1 Maccabees 4 and 52. It says, now on the 25th day of the 9th month, which is called the month Caslu, which is this month, the 25th day of Esau's 12th month, in the 148th year, they rose up betimes in the morning and offered sacrifice according to the law upon the new altar of burnt offerings, which they had made, because they had torn down the foul altar that the Greeks had defiled under Antiochus Epiphanes. It says, look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it. Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned our altar, which is the 12th month, the 25th day. Christmas, as you know it. Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it. Even in that was it dedicated with songs and cisterns and harps and cymbals. So the same day, the 25th day, we were able to dedicate the temple back to the Most High with songs and cisterns and harps and cymbals, with music and praises to the Most High. Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the Most High of heaven, who had given them good success in war. And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days and offered burnt offerings with gladness and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise. They decked also the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold and with shields. Those are shields and crowns of gold that they decorating the front of the temple with. And the gates and the chambers they renewed and hanged doors upon them. Thus was there very great gladness among the people, for that the reproach of the heathen was put away through warfare. Moreover, Judas and his brethren with the whole congregation of Israel ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year, by the space of 8 days, from the 25th day of the month Caslu, with mirth and gladness. See? So all these days supposed to be done with mirth and gladness, having a good time. Not just 1 day, but 8 days with mirth and gladness. At that time also they builded up the Mount Zion with high walls and strong towers round about, lest the Gentiles should come and tread it down as they had done before in warfare. And they set there a garrison or fortress to keep it, and fortified Beersheba to preserve it, that the people might have a defense against Idumea. And looking up Idumea from the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, once again, Idumea is a Greek word for Edom, Rome. Okay? Representing the so-called Caucasian, indigenous, I might say, Caucasian people. So they built up this fortress to protect us Israelites from the Edomites, the Idumeans. First Maccabees 5:1. Now when the nations round about heard that the altar was built and the sanctuary renewed as before, it displeased them very much. So why would they have a problem with us being able to have our temple to call on our power, the most high power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob again, if these nations are so for us? Wherefore they thought to destroy the generation of Jacob that was among them. Hear that? Just understand this. Because a lot of you look at our life as we're in now as something different, or making it new to what it is that how these people have felt about us from generation to generation, even until now. Because look, it says, when the nations round about heard that the altar was built and the sanctuary renewed as before, it displeased them very much. Not just much, but very much. Why? Because they don't want us to be able to call on the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to have the spiritual power from the most high power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that he may work and do the things that we already read today for us over and over again. That he did for us over and over and over again. Like he's going to do for us in these days and times. Over and over and over again. Until he get him a name. And he's going to be all in all. Forever and ever and ever. Understand this. Your arm's too short to fight with the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So it's a fearful thing to fall into his hands. You understand? But people going to fall into his hands. As you see in this lesson, they're going to fight the Most High through a Mashiach Yahushua and his forces that he's going to bring forth on this earth, and they're going to lose. They ain't going to be nothing but dust and smell of smoke. That's the future. But they still going to be trembling. They're going to be scared, but they're going to fight. Because they're going to try and fight to retain their powers and authority on this earth. But no, righteousness is coming on this earth, and all those that want to be righteous going to be there. Going to be a remnant of all the nations going to be redeemed, but the nation of the kingdom that will not serve him going to perish. Yeah, they're going to be utterly wasted. So you got a choice to choose now, righteousness, or you're going to be burnt in the lake of fire. Or you got a choice to hear what we're saying and come in, and everybody going to have to come up to deal with the Most High and our Mashiach Yahushua and we the children of Israel. Or you ain't going to be blessed. Therefore, if you ain't blessed, you're going to be cursed, you're going to be done away with, period. No blessings, nothing but curses. You got a choice, choose life or death. That life is a blessing, and the death is the curses. We know that as Israelites, so we done been in the curses over and over again. As we just read, once somebody died, once somebody was righteous died, here comes somebody evil. And we followed them, and we suffered. There's no different, ain't nothing new under the sun. So now, you see these nations, they hated the fact that we're able to call on the most high power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's why ain't no publicity gonna be given to how you get closer to your most high. Y'all better understand this. They ain't get no publicity on that. Where that's at? Show it to me. Where is that at? Somebody's talking about crying to the Most High, that he can have pity on us and set righteousness up on this earth. Where is that at? If thou might say. Just like now, as we reading here, when the nations knew that we got the temple back to call upon the Most High power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, knowing the things that he done, as we done read a few examples now in this lesson, seeing the power of the Most High. All praise to his holy name. You think they want that? No. They don't want that. But you thinking, they're not paying attention. Oh, they paying attention. Believe that. Because you see what it's saying. Now, when the nation, ain't nothing new under the sun. Now, when the nations round about heard that the altar was built and the sanctuary renewed as before, it displeased them very much. Because now we're able to call on the Most High power of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and redeem our rightful position in the earth at that time. Wherefore they thought to destroy, listen, they start to destroy, they start to kill, they start to murder the generation of Jacob that was among them. That's warfare. And thereupon they began to slay and destroy the people. Destroy and slay, kill, murder the Israelites that was amongst them. Then Judas fought against the children of Esau, the so-called white man, indigenous in Idumea, at Arabadine time, because they besieged Israel, and he gave them a great overthrow in warfare. Gave them a great overthrow and abated their courage and took their spoils, took everything they had. Also remembered the injury of the children of Bean, who had been a snare and an offense unto the people, in that they lay in wait for them in the ways. He shut them up, therefore, in the towers and encamped against them and destroyed them utterly and burned the towers of that place with fire and all that were therein. Warfare. Powerful warfare. Powerful warrior. Judas Maccabees. Afterward, he passed over to the children of Ammon, where he found a mighty power and much people, with Timotheus their captain. So he fought many battles with them, till at length they were discomfited from before him, and he smote them. And when he had taken Jazar with the towns belonging thereto, he returned into Judea. Then the heathen that were at Gallipon, these other nations outside the 12 tribes of Israel, assembled themselves together against the Israelites that were in their quarters to destroy them. But they fled to the fortress of the Thema. So these other nations were always been against us, and sent letters unto Judas and his brethren. The heathen are round about us, as assembled together against us to destroy us. And they were preparing to come and take the fortress whereunto we are fled, Timotheus being captain of their hosts or their army. Come now, therefore, and deliver us from their hands, for many of us are slain. They done killed a lot of us. Calling out this mighty warrior, Judas Maccabees, to come and deliver us, because they didn't kill many of us. Yeah, and all our brethren that were in the places of Tobiah are put to death. Their wives and their children also they have carried away captives, and borne and carried away their stuff, took all they had, and they have destroyed their about 1,000 men. Wow. In warfare. While these letters were yet being read, behold, there came other messengers from Galilee with their clothes rent, who reported on this wise, and said, they of Ptolemy and of Tyrus and of Zidon and all Galilee of the Gentiles are assembled together against us to consume us in warfare. Now when Judas and the people heard these words, there assembled a great congregation together to consult what they should do for their brethren that were in trouble, and assaulted of them. Then said Judas unto Simon his brother, choose thee out men, and go and deliver thy brethren that are in Galilee. For I and Jonathan my brother will go into the country of Galilee. So he left Joseph, the son of Zacharias, and Azarias, captains of the people, warriors, with the remnant of the host in Judea to keep it, unto whom he gave commandment, saying, take ye the charge of this people, and see that ye make not war against the heathen until the time that we come against. They don't make no war with no one. These heathen, these other nations who are the enemies of we the Israelites, that hated the fact that we were able to call upon the Most High in our temple again. He said, don't make no war with them till we come back. Okay, so he left Joseph, the son of Zacharias, and Azarias, captains of the people, with the remnant of the host in Judea to keep it, unto whom he gave commandments, saying, take ye the charge of this people, and see that ye make not war against the heathen until the time that we come again. So don't make no war with the heathen until they come back. Now unto Simon were given 3,000 men to go into Galilee, and unto Judas 8,000 men for the country of Gilead. Then went Simon into Galilee, where he fought many battles, wars, with the heathen, so that the heathen were discomfited by him. And he pursued them unto the gate of Ptolemais. And there was slain of the heathen about 3,000 men, whose spoils he took. So he took, like I say, he took the spoils of them, whatever they had on. And those that were in Galilee and in Arbatis, with their wives and their children, and all that they had, took he away with him, and brought them into Judea with great joy. Judas Maccabeus also and his brother Jonathan went over Jordan and travailed 3 days' journey in the wilderness, where they met with the Nabathites, who came unto them in a peaceable manner, and told them everything that had happened to their brethren in the land of Gilead, and how that many of them were shut up in Bersora and Elamah, Cashfor, Maked, and Carnaim. All these cities are strong and great, and that they were shut up in the rest of the cities of the country of Gilead, and that against tomorrow they had appointed to bring their host against the forts, and to take them and to destroy them all in one day. Hereunto Judas and his host turned suddenly by the way of the wilderness unto Bersora. And when he had won the city, he slew all the males with the edge of the sword. Warfare. He killed all the males with the edge of the sword and took all their spoils, took everything that they had, and burned the city with fire, From whence he removed by night, and went till he came to the fortress. And betimes in the morning they looked up, and behold, there was an innumerable people bearing ladders and other engines of war to take the fortress, for they assaulted them. When Judas therefore saw that the battle was begun, and that the cry of the city went up to heaven with trumpets and of a great sound, because we had a certain sound of the trumpet that we blew that let us know what was happening. Blew that certain sound of the trumpet, the sound for war. He recognized it. When Judas therefore saw that the battle was begun, verse 31, and that the cry of the city went up to heaven with trumpets and a great sound, he said unto his host, fight this day for your brethren. So he went forth behind them in 3 companies, who sounded their trumpets and cried with prayer, crying to the Most High. Then the host of Timotheus, knowing that it was Maccabeus, fled from him, wherefore he smote them with a great slaughter, so that there were killed of them that day about 8,000 men. This done, Judas turned aside to Maspah, and after he had assaulted it, he took it and slew all the males therein, warfare of the Israelites, and received the spoils thereof, and burnt it with fire. From thence went he, and took Cashphon, Magad, Besor, and the other cities of the country of Gilead. After these things gathered Timotheus another host, another army, and encamped against Rephan beyond the brook. So Judas sent men to espy the host, check out, to spy on their army, who brought him word saying, all the heathen that be round about us are assembled unto them, even a very great host. He hath also hired the Arabians, Ishmaelites, the Arabs, to help them. And they have pitched their tents beyond the brook. You see how these nations, if you keep reading this Bible, you read with understanding, you see that these nations are heathens and they join together to fight against us. They're not our friends. Verse 39, he have also hired the Arabians to help them, and they have pitched their tents beyond the brook, ready to come and fight against thee. Upon this Judas went to meet them. Then Timotheus said unto the captains of his host, hosts mean armies, when Judas and his hosts come near the brook, if he pass over first unto us, we shall not be able to withstand him, for he will mightily prevail against us. But if he be afraid and camp beyond the river, we shall go over unto him and prevail against him. This is their strategy. This is their strategy. Now when Judas came near the brook, he caused the scribes of the people to remain by the brook, unto whom he gave commandments, saying, suffer no man to remain in the camp, but let all come to the battle. So he went first over to them, and all the people after him. Then all the heathen, being discomfited before him, cast away their weapons and fled unto the temple that was at Carnaim. They threw down their weapons and ran. But they took the city and burned the temple with all that were therein. Thus was Carnaim subdued, neither could they stand any longer before Judas. Then Judas gathered together all the Israelites that were in the country of Gilead, from the least unto the greatest, even their wives and their children and their stuff, everything they had, a very great host, to the end they might come into the land of Judea. Now when they came unto Ephraim, this was a great city in the way as they should go, very well fortified. They could not turn from it, either on the right hand or the left, but much needs passed through the midst of it. Then they of the city shut them out and stopped up the gates with stones. So they shut them out from coming into the gates, put stones on it so they couldn't come in. Whereupon Judas sent unto them in peaceful matter, saying, let us pass through your land to go into our own country, and none shall do you any hurt. We will only pass through on foot. Howbeit, they would not open unto them. They wouldn't open unto him. Say, no, we're not letting you come through here. They done close the gates, put stones on them to prevent us from going through, right? Wherefore Judas commanded a proclamation to be made throughout the host, throughout the army, that every man should pitch his tent in the place where he was. So the soldiers pitched and assaulted the city all that day and all that night, till at the length the city was delivered into his hands. They just assaulted that city day and night until they won that city over. Wherefore Judas commanded a proclamation to be made throughout the host, that every man should pitch his tent in the place where he was. So they pitched their tent where they was, so the soldiers pitched and assaulted the city all that day and all that night, till at the length the city was delivered into his hands, who then slew all the males